Welcome to another episode of That's Some Crazy Shit with Kelly and James. My name is Kelly and my co-host is Mr. James. What's up, dude?
Hey, you know how it is, coming to you from the beautiful corner studio of, now you said I couldn't have a tower since it's only 2 floors, so we've changed it to That's Some Crazy Shit broadcast center.
Okay. Or
corner studio though, always corner studio.
Always the corner studio. Gotcha. So James, today we have another cool guest, actually a repeat guest. We have John Russell back. He is an acclaimed psychic and author. He had some really great stories last time, gave me and you a little mini reading, little insight on us, and he is back today to talk more about his experiences and the things that he's done and more about his books.
Yeah, the first time he came, for our new listeners, he delivered a message from my mom, and it was very interesting because I have had this thought in my mind since she died. I never told anyone. And when he delivered the message, it was very specific and he answered all those questions, and it blew me away. It really did. And John's a cool guy. I think, was it Travel Channel or not? History Channel screwed up when they didn't do
pick
some
up
of his
thing about Lincoln. Yeah. He had done a pilot about Lincoln, and he's got stories about it. He's an avid motorcycle rider. He's just an all-around great guy. I think we should just get right to it.
Let's do it then.
Welcome to the podcast, psychic and author, John Russell.
John, first of all, I want to thank you for being on with Kelly and I. And I also want to thank you for the message you delivered last time you were on the show to me. It was very emotional for me. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. I'm glad that you were able to relate to it. I'm glad the guys were able to deliver it through me for you, and that it was impactful for you and made a difference for you.
Yeah, thank you. So what have you been up to since the last time we talked?
Oh my goodness. This year I will have done, we're not even through the year, we're not even through September yet, and I will have done over 50 podcasts by the time we wrap up this year. And so that averages out to right now, well, it's going to be way more than 50. That averages out to more than one a week right now. And I'm taking November and December off so I can rest a little bit. And I'm going to celebrate the holidays, go through Thanksgiving, go through Christmas, and then come back in January and hit the podcast again. But obviously been doing a lot of podcasts. I have my readings, I'm booked out about anywhere from 3 to 4 months right now for my clientele doing the readings, and still working on that third book when I find time. And the first 2 books have both won awards since we talked last. So everything's been going pretty good. And of course, the paranormal flies fast and furious. And then we moved since I talked to you last. We're still in Florida, but we moved cities, and that looks like it's going to be real nice for us.
Wow, that's a whole lot. I don't even know where to begin, because I'm like, well, as you're talking, I'm like, well, wait, let's talk about that more. Then you mentioned something else. Wait, let's talk about that. So let's talk about the books and talk to us about both the books, Writing with Ghosts and A Knock in the Attic. I know they're both award winners, but tell the listeners, maybe they didn't listen to the last time we had you on. Sure. Tell them about the books and why you wrote them.
Well, Writing with Ghost Angels and the Spirits of the Dead is my first book. It came out in September of 2020. And the reason I wrote that book was basically to leave a legacy. I had recorded a TV pilot for the History Channel, which unfortunately never aired. And my producer and I became friends, and we continued to work together, and we continued to try and pitch a TV show utilizing my psychic talents. And I have been a motorcycle rider since about the age of 15, and a serious rider. Like on my current bike alone, I have almost 114,000 miles.
Wow.
So as many people were of my era, a seminal TV program that launched a lot of our writing dreams and aspirations was Then Came Bronson. And this was about a guy that dropped out of the corporate rat race, hopped on his bike and took off, destination unknown, to find himself and to find America. And it was a really impactful show for a lot of people, and still is. So my producer asked me to write down some snippets of paranormal experiences I was having, and to do it as a blog so that we could send the link to the blog to potential producers for TV shows or whatever. And around this time, I began to have an incredible amount of really over-the-top bizarre paranormal experiences, even for me, related to my motorcycle rides, specifically to my motorcycle rides. And I kind of just put the bare bones necessities of that on the blog. And I approached my producer and I said, look, let's do the paranormal version of Then Came Bronson. I'll ride into town on my motorcycle, we'll do the paranormal investigations, then we'll leave, go to the next town. So we were in the process of pitching that. Unfortunately, nothing ever came about. And so I looked at all these experiences and I said, you know, these are really so melodramatic, so bizarre, so over the top, and they contain really valuable spiritual lessons as well as being entertaining. I've got to expand these stories into their full of what actually occurred, not leaving any details out. And then I grouped them together and I put them in the book, Writing with Ghost Angels and the Spirits of the Dead. And my idea was that's the legacy I'm going to leave as a psychic. And it was really great because when you write a book, all editors, publishers, and agents will tell you there's no such thing as a unique book. They'll say, give me 3 comp titles, give me 3 comparable titles that are in the market that are similar to yours. And I kept trying to tell everybody, this book is unique. It's not like anything else out there in the realm of the paranormal, psychic, so on and so forth. So sure enough, an editor friend of mine read it. And he said, you know what? He said, this is absolutely unique. There is nothing else out there like this. And that made me feel really, really, really great. So it really is unique. There really is nothing else like it out there. And that book, Writing with Ghost Angels and the Spirits of the Dead, has just this month won a bronze medal in an international book awards, Reader's Favorite International Book Awards. Like, this is a pretty big deal. Like, all the major publishers check out the award winners. Neil deGrasse Tyson was awarded a medal in his category in there, and so on and so forth. So this is a big deal. People from all around the world send in entries, and it's a pretty big deal. And prior to this, then it also won a silver award in another competition, so I'm pretty proud of that. And then the second book, which came out in February of this year, Knock in the Attic, is actually more of a prequel to Writing with Ghosts. It goes back to when I was a childhood, when all of this started, when I was a child, goes back to my childhood, when all of this started and my psychic gift awakened and developed, and it takes you through my childhood on up into adulthood, and moving from my hometown of San Angelo, Texas, to New York, and then eventually to Florida, and all the exciting paranormal adventures along the way, including a lot of high profile paranormal investigations, such as I shot the TV pilot for the History Channel that I mentioned, which unfortunately never aired. But it also won a gold award in one of the contests, and has gotten some really nice reviews, and people are saying they've never read anything like it either. So really happy with the way the books are going, and those are available at any major bookseller online. I ask people to pick up a copy and hope they really enjoy them.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. So I know that, you've got the books and you do the psychic readings.
Right.
And so let's talk about that for a moment. So the psychic readings, how, we've had a lot of psychics on, and everybody is different in the way that they communicate and read and what their styles are. So I don't think we really talked about it last time. So I'm interested, like, if somebody came to you, what can they expect with the reading with you?
It's going to be a real practical reading, not pie in the sky, by and by stuff. One of the hallmarks of my readings is that, I'll explain it to you by telling you the way a client explained it to me. There were a couple of ladies that were friends that I had for clients for a number of years. And they would always tell me that they would be sitting talking and going, we really need some guidance here. Who are we going to call that's not going to tell us what we want to hear, but that's going to tell us the truth? John. And so that's been the hallmark of my readings for all of my clients. Is I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to filter it. I'm not going to put my opinion on it. I'm going to give it to you as the other side gives it to me, directly like they give it to me, tell you how to apply it and what to do with it. And of course, you know, I look at past, present, and future as it's appropriate. Tell you why this occurred there and how it brought you here and what you're doing now and why and what's coming and how to interact and intersect with the most positive aspects of that, how to avoid the negative aspects of that if possible, or at least minimize it. So it is predictive in nature, and my clients have told me over the years I'm anywhere to 80 to 90% accurate in my predictions and in my insights. That's a pretty impressive number, yes. And I always negate that. I always negate that by saying, let's assume that I am 90% accurate. 1 out of 10 things still falls through the cracks, and a big thing can be that one thing that falls through the cracks.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So how do you get the information? Is it something that you see? Is it something that you hear? Do you use tarot cards? What do you do?
All of the above, everything. It's like, and you know, the people's guides, angels, whatever, they communicate with my guides and so on. All my people on the other side, they give me information. My gift connects with that. It all works together. And when it's really hard and difficult and imperfect to describe, the best way that I can describe it, and I don't think it's totally accurate, but it's the best I can give you. When you go to school as a kid, you learn that 2 + 2 = 4. You got 2 sticks, that's 4 sticks, 2 marbles, you got 4 marbles. And that works anywhere in the world. So you learn that as a fact that's always constant, that you can always rely on, and it's always there in your mind. And if you're approaching 70 like I am, you can still say 2 + 2 = 4. Still a fact, still works. And when I receive information from people in a reading, the information kind of drops into my head as a knowing, as almost like I have learned a fact previously. And I know it's true, I know it's real, I know it's a fact. So I know that either the insight is correct or I know that the prediction is correct. And it has that feeling like 2 + 2 = 4. So I know it as a reality, and that's the main way that it comes through for me.
So you said you had info. Give James his info.
I will start with James. Yeah, I was tuning in on you guys right before the podcast here, and James, the main thing that I have for you right now is watch your health. Now, I don't mean be overly concerned about your health, but watch your health. And specifically, what I want you to do is do the things that are right for you with your health. A lot of times we get wrapped up in things that fad diets, supplements, this thing, that thing, this doctor, that doctor, and it winds up doing us more harm than good. And if we listen to our bodies, if we know ourselves and know our bodies, we kind of get a sense. Our body gives us feedback of what we should do and what we shouldn't do. And that's what I want you to listen to in the months and the years to come. And I don't see anything to be concerned about, even if there's any kind of health issue there now or one that comes up. I don't see anything to be concerned about. The thing that concerns me is your attitude toward your health. So don't let somebody tell you, oh, I see this and it's going to be bad. No, don't listen to that. Don't, if the doctor tells you, oh man, you need to be on, 4 more pills and this and that. No. Don't do any fad diets. Don't do any weird things. And the main thing for you, James, is just to keep positive, just to keep upbeat, just to keep happy, and not to succumb to worry. Worry, stress, negativity is the big things for you to avoid and fear. Do that, and I think your health issues are going to be fine then.
Oh, right on. Thanks, Tom. That's good news.
All right. And now we go to Kelly. I told you some things last time for you, Kelly, about where I saw you going and so on and so forth. And now in conjunction with that, it looks like you're going to be entering some curvy twists and turns and some unexpected setbacks or some unexpected angles or some weird things going on. And the message I received for you is, don't think you're going in the wrong direction, or don't think that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Just stay the course and keep going, because it's still going to make sense. It's still going to get there, and you'll overcome all of that and get through all of that. So when something hits you that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, just go, that's fine, that's cool, and just keep going. and you're gonna be okay.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Like the curvy, twisty stuff, isn't that just life most of the time, right?
A lot of times it is, but when we relate it to a specific thing that I've seen in a reading, then we have to look at what's going on with that definitive particular issue. And we have to say, okay, besides life's normal twists and turns, now we've got this focusing on what you're trying to achieve, the direction you're trying to go, and so on and so forth. And so you have to realize that when things happen in that way, don't worry about it, just keep going. You may not understand it, may not make any sense. In time, it either will or it won't, and even that's irrelevant. Just keep going, just keep focused.
And everything else looks good.
There you go.
No, I'm asking. Everything
else
looks good.
You know, life's normal lumps and bruises, but everything else looks good. Yeah, you know. There you go.
Well, thank you. That is
You're
such
welcome.
a psychic, you know, it fascinates me because like me and James have had many psychics, and they say, well, people say that we all have the ability, some just more in tune than others.
Right,
Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, it's like, you know, I might take piano lessons for 3 years and barely be able to play when the Saints go marching in, and I might play it so badly then people want to leave the room. And you know, some kid that's 5 years old sits down and plays something he's heard, some classical music piece he's heard without any lessons, and then studies and goes on to become a great concert pianist. So we all have gifts in different areas that we can develop. So everybody has psychic gifts to a degree, but you're going to plateau. You're going to hit a level at how far you can develop those gifts. Now with people like me, that it hadn't plateaued yet. It's still growing, still developing, still going. I'm still learning, and things are still growing. And that's since the age of about 5 or 6. So for people like me, that's going to continue, and people are going to look at me and go, well, how do I get that way? Well, you may never be able to. Yours may be confined to go around the block one more time, you'll get a good parking space, or the phone rings and that's Aunt Agnes, and oh, it is, and that may be it. So, you know, we have to find out where our niches are, where our gifts are, where our talents lie, and work within that. And we have to realize that even within our talent may never be as big as someone else's, and we have to be content with the level we can develop to. I wanted to be a marathon runner when I was younger, and I was born with numerous health conditions, heart problems, asthma, and COPD, and a weird form of arthritis. So no matter how hard I trained, basically all I did was make myself sick. And I never got to the point that I could run a marathon. So it didn't matter how many psychic techniques I utilized, how much positive thinking I utilized, didn't matter how hard I trained, that just wasn't in me. My body was like, we ain't doing this, Jack. This ain't you. You know, this is somebody else. This is Alberto Salazar, or, you know, this is Bill Rogers or somebody like that. But it ain't you, John. You know, go do your thing. And so that's what we have to realize. We have to find out where our limitations are and respect those and work within our strengths.
So how does someone develop or is there a way to practice so that you can develop more? Or?
Yeah, there is. You know, I tell people, I say the best thing you can do is just go directly to the other side and say, hey guys, I'm here, teach me, show me. What am I supposed to do? How do I develop? And then pay attention to the intuitions, the promptings, the things that come to you. There's a book that I like that I'll recommend now, and then we'll talk about my third book because it's going to tell you how to develop in those areas. But there's a book you can get now that it's out of print. But if you go to Amazon and enter the title in the search box, their certified resellers will come up, and you can get a signed first edition for $1,000. You can get a paperback for $50. Sometimes you find one for $9, whatever. So you look and you find the right price for you, and then you get a copy. It's called David St. Clair's Lessons in Instant ESP. And it's David, D-A-V-I-D, S-T.C-L-A-I-R, David St. Clair's Lessons in Instant ESP. That's not an ESP course. What a lot of people don't realize is that editors will a lot of times retitle authors' books. For example, Gone with the Wind was originally titled Tomorrow's Another Day. Most people don't know that. So somebody had to retitle this because it's not an ESP course. It's a complete psychic development course. And what David St. Clair did, he was a researcher and an author that traveled all around the world investigating psychic phenomena, paranormal phenomena, investigating psychics and mediums. And what his thing was to try and determine what worked, what didn't, and distill it down to something without all the rigmarole, without all the religious or spiritual dogma or whatever, and say, here it is. This is how you learn it. This is how you do it. So it's a really good book in that regard. And then as kind of an homage to that, my third book, which is called 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities, is a book that, through my personal experience and what the other side has taught me over the years, will be 20 chapters. Each chapter will take a specific spiritual tool or technique. For example, psychometry, which is the art of holding an object, getting the vibrations from it, and seeing what truths you get from that object. So each chapter will define what the technique is, and then tell you how to practice it and learn it, how to get better with it, how to get good with it, and then the real world application of it. Because each of these things actually has a real world application. It doesn't do any good if you go to a party and say, hey, give me your ring, and you hold the ring and you go, oh, you bought this in New York, and somebody's like, wow, that's neat. Well, big deal, parlor trick. But if you can take that energy and that skill and translate that into real world situations, you can keep yourself out of trouble. You can gain knowledge that you wouldn't have otherwise, and so on and so forth. So hopefully, I'm way behind on this book right now, but hopefully it'll be out sometime early next year.
Does it have a title?
Yeah, 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities.
20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities.
Yep.
Yeah, I want a copy. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited.
People have been bugging me for this book. I had a person the other day, they called me and they said, I've been searching the bookstores, I can't find it. It's like, it's not published yet. So people are really excited about this book, and I am too. I think it's really going to be unique in the niche, and it's really going to help a lot of people. It goes to some real hardcore, cut to the chase type stuff, and tells you exactly, step by step, how to learn it, how to do it, and how to practice it. So if you know absolutely nothing about anything, you can do it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So
Sounds right up my alley.
I definitely, when it comes out, you'll definitely want to get a copy. So I'm interested in the paranormal investigations. That's more James's jam than mine. Paranormal investigations. I'm like, right. I'm good. I'll be in the car waiting for you guys, right? I'm not, it's just not me, but I'm fascinated with them. I sometimes I watch them on TV, sometimes I don't. James has actually been on some. What is like your experiences, and why do you do them?
Well, I've been doing paranormal investigations since I was about age 12. I began to be a paranormal researcher and paranormal investigator then, and my driving force was the truth. Let's find out what's real, what isn't, what works, what doesn't. If somebody says they saw a particular thing or experienced a particular thing, did they? And that's what I wanted to find out, because there's so many claims out there, and there's so many con artists and phonies and frauds in the spiritual realm, psychic, paranormal, even in mainstream religion, there's a ton of them. And so I saw that from an early age, and my burning thing was, let's find out what's really going on here. Let's find out what's really happening. And then in the process of doing paranormal investigations for all these years, a lot of people misinterpret what's going on. I had a lady, we may have discussed this last time, I don't remember, but I had a lady when I shot the pilot for the TV channel, for the History Channel, I'm sorry. She came to me during a break in the filming, and she said, when you get a little bit of chance, I need to talk to you. And I said, okay. And she said, a ghost tried to kill me. I said, oh, no ghost tried to kill you. And she said, yeah, I'll tell you. So we got to break in the filming, and I went over to talk to her, and she said, I was in my kitchen, and the cupboard door opened by itself, and this plate flew across the kitchen right next to me, and hit the wall and shattered. This ghost tried to kill me. And I said, no, the ghost didn't try and kill you. The ghost tried to kill you. You'd be dead. And I said, what happened was the other side has been trying to communicate with you for a long time, and you've been ignoring them. And they have important things to get through to you and to tell you that they need to reach you with. And by the process of ignoring them, you frustrated them to the point that they're like, ignore this now. Right. This is something so physical, so concrete that you can't deny it. And I said, the ghost wasn't trying to kill you, the ghost trying to get your attention. Now, here's what you do. And I explained to her how to connect with the other side so that they could give her inspiration and guidance and so on and so forth. So a lot of times people have these experiences and they misinterpret them as something evil or demonic or dangerous when they're absolutely not. And that was another hot button with me, was like, let's don't go out here finding a demon behind every bush, and let's don't go out here thinking that anything that we encounter is evil or dangerous or whatever, because 99.9% of the time it's not. And one thing I discovered doing EVP, a lot of people pick up these mysterious, weird growls and odd noises on their digital microphones they're carrying. And I was sitting there doing EVP in my office one day, and it was very quiet like it is in here now. And I played it back, and I got this weird, bizarre, strange, prolonged growl type weird, and I was like, what in God's name? And I played it back and listened. About that time my stomach went, and my microphone was so sensitive that it was picking up every little growl that my stomach made. So, people are going out in the field and they're hungry and their stomach growls and they don't realize their mic's so sensitive that they pick that up. And then they play back and go, oh God, a demon's here, and it's like, so that was a burning desire for me, was to cut through the nonsense, get down to the nitty gritty. Let's eliminate all the variables. Let's make sure of what we're actually getting, and then do some good with that.
What's the last investigation that you went on?
This house. But the last prominent investigation I went on, which has been a number of years ago now, was when I investigated the Lincoln Assassination for the History Channel. And we filmed that, and it was just so amazing. It was so phenomenal to be in all of those historic spots. And Atlas Media, that's where I met my producer. He was working for Atlas Media in New York at the time, in New York City, and we were living in New York. And this is what made this so phenomenal, was the combination of the cachet of Atlas Media and the History Channel opened all these doors for us that nothing else could have opened. Because a lot of psychics had already been to these places, and the people were like, get these idiots out of here and don't ever bring any of these nutcases here again. That's how bad it was. Like, I remember one docent told me they had a psychic come in and she went, oh my God, he touched me, and she fainted on the floor. And it's like, you're a psychic, you're there investigating the paranormal, you're supposed to be used to being touched, pushed, shoved, spirits, physical manifestations, whatever. So they saw this and they said, don't ever bring anyone here again, don't ever bring any of these idiots here again. So even the places that had said that, by virtue of the fact that it was Atlas and the History Channel, they were like, okay, you guys can come in. And what made that even more marvelous was that every place we went to, Ford's Theater, the Peterson House, the Mudd House, all of these places, the only people there were the docents and me and the film crew. No tourists, nobody else around. So we had the place to ourselves for basically as long as we wanted it. And I got all of these fantastic psychic impressions. And the neat thing was, especially about the Lincoln assassination, when there were several things that, well, one example, accepted history was, there's a museum underneath the theater, and there's a door there that represents the door to the presidential box. And it had a hole drilled in it. And the sign says, in the theater, in the museum, the sign says that Booth had this hole, or Booth drilled this hole. Said Booth drilled this hole in the door so that he could look in and see where Lincoln was, where he was seated, so he could burst in and shoot him. And I looked at that and I said, no, this is not right. I mean, this is the accepted history. This is what's officially posted there, right? I said, no, this isn't right. Booth didn't drill this hole. Booth had this hole drilled by somebody in the theater that worked there, so it wouldn't arouse suspicion. But Booth did not drill this hole. And so sure enough, after the pilot, we had an army of Lincoln experts, and of course the production companies had an army of researchers at their disposal, and they found out that indeed the hole was drilled by a carpenter working at the theater, not by Booth, and ostensibly so that Lincoln's bodyguard could look in and keep an eye on him. But we were able to validate that what I picked up psychically was indeed the fact, and that it contradicted established history, and that I was correct in what I had perceived, which was really neat. And there were a few moments like that, and then of course you got to wonder, where was Lincoln's bodyguard? Why had he abandoned the post and let Booth come up there, peek through the hole, come in and shoot Lincoln, be part of the conspiracy? So there were a lot of marvelous things like that, and we went to all these places, and I had the run of the places, and it was just incredible, just unreal.
Did you ever encounter Lincoln?
Doggone it, I didn't. And I really, really hoped that I would, but I never really connected with his spirit there. But I'll tell you something that happened years later. after I moved to Florida, and I had gotten my latest motorcycle, my new motorcycle. And in addition to reading full time, doing everything else I was doing professionally, I would carve out time to ride 15 to 1,800 miles a month. So I was all over creation. And I got up one day, and the other side, my guys on the other side had been telling me forever and a day to ride to Tallahassee. I'm like, okay. And I got to preface this by saying, when we were in New York doing the investigation, I kept saying, it just became an ember. It just became a burr in my saddle. Where is Lincoln's funeral hearse? My producer didn't know. I asked other people on the production crew. They didn't know. We asked people at the places, where's Lincoln's funeral hearse? Nobody knew. And it just became this burning issue with me. So I never found out. So we moved to Florida, and I get my bike and I get the surge to ride to Tallahassee. So I schedule myself a day off, and I get up and I get on the bike, and I'm riding to Tallahassee. And this is in the book, A Knock in the Attic. And I'm riding to Tallahassee. And on the side of the road, I'm almost into Tallahassee, getting real close, and I see this Tallahassee Automobile Museum. And the guys are telling me, stop here. I'm like, I'm supposed to be going into Tallahassee. What's this? They're like, stop here. I was like, okay. So I stopped, and it's a really neat place. And there was another sign I encountered outside that I talk about in the book that's relevant from previous in the book. And I'm enjoying the day, and it's really great. And as I'm walking toward the entrance to go into the museum, all of a sudden the Lincoln investigation comes just overwhelmingly present to me again. And I'm just overwhelmed with it, and thinking about New York and thinking about the investigation. I'm like, well, that's crazy. What in the world? And I'm like, guys, why an automobile museum? I'm a bike guy. You know, I like hot rods, I like hot cars and all this, and antique cars, but I'm a bike guy. So why an automobile museum? So I'm like, okay, I pay my money and I go in, and I'm looking around on the main floor, and I spot it, and instantly I know what it is before I even get over to the sign that describes it. And I just savor my time making my way over to it. And when I get there, it's the funeral hearse that drew Abraham Lincoln's body.
Wow.
So somebody on the other side knew where it was, and all these years later, in this move of 1,000 miles and this ride of 250, 300 miles one way to get me there, to inspire me there, to get to see that. And they were saying like, yeah, you wondered. Well, here it is. We knew we'd get you there. So that was an amazing experience. And I looked around, I said, is Mr. Lincoln here looking at me smiling? And if he was, I didn't see him.
Yeah, huh?
It was a monumental experience, just chill bumps, you know.
That's incredible.
That is. So, John, if somebody wanted to reach you for a psychic reading, because we're almost out of time, how would they do that?
Go to johnrussell.net, 2 S's, 2 L's in Russell, johnrussell.net. It's got information there on how to schedule a reading, and links to both my books are there. They can click on those, find the books as well as they can find them at any major online bookseller. Just enter the titles and they can find them there.
Thank you so much for coming on That's Some Crazy Shit. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. I can't wait for that book. So, you know, when you're not recording podcast, you need to be
work on the book.
Yes, work on that book.
I'm still going to buy you a beer when you come my area.
Absolutely. I'm still going to hold you to that.
John, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, James. I enjoyed it so much. Look forward to talking to you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. I love John, Cal. He's a cool dude, man. And I like the way he refers to the guys on your side as his guys, you know.
Yeah, not his guides. His guys.
Not his guides. They're his guys. I like that.
John is cool. Yeah, he's got his books are coming out. All of the information about him, how to connect with him, is in the podcast description. If you are looking for a psychic, I highly recommend him. Incredibly accurate.
He was 5 months out?
Yeah. So I mean,
it would be worth the wait, people. It really would.
Incredibly accurate. Just a really good guy. Like him a lot.
And I still think History Channel screwed up when they should have let him do the show where he was riding to different towns on his bike and checking out all these, you know, paranormal events. That would have been bad. I would have watched that.
Yeah, that would have been a cool show. So yeah, History Channel, or was it the History Channel? Lost out on that.
Yeah, they screwed up.
Well, James, you know how to get a hold of us. You can
reach us. I know how to get a hold of us. How do our listeners get a hold of us, though?
They go to
That's Some Crazy Shit podcast.com. It's all there, people.
All of our links for social media. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. And James has a blog. And you can go back and listen to past episodes.
Yeah, and go back and listen to John's first episode, you guys.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. So, James, that's all I have for today.
All right, random bullshit.
You know, the only thing I can say about random bullshit is what we were talking about the other day. And I know that this is probably old news by now, but I still don't like the fact that they've taken a comic book character, not the direct comic book character, a descendant or a relative of a comic book character, and then had to go make him, what, bisexual or gay? Is Superman's son is gay? Yeah, and I have no problem with gay people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not.
No, he's bisexual.
Bisexual. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that I think that if you want to have a character that has, you know, we're all about their gender or whatever, their sexuality, then I think it should be an original character, right? I don't think you should take an established character and try to change its gender or its sexual preference or whatever. I think you should be original and create a character where that's just a part of their origin.
Okay, now I'm just playing devil's advocate, but the argument that people are having then with that is it's not Superman per se, but Superman's son. And I know what you're talking about. You're still you're still leveraging the popularity of Superman to make his son bisexual, to send some type of a message. And I don't get it, because I didn't think Superman was ever about sexuality. I thought Superman was about protecting the American way. And truth and justice.
Truth and justice. So why do we care? I never cared who Superman slept with. Did you?
Well, yeah, it was his business.
Even though he's fictional, we're talking a fictional character, it wasn't important. It wasn't relevant to him fighting for truth and justice. So I don't understand why do we care that his son is bisexual? Why is that important? Why is that important to the Superman legacy?
Well, I don't know if it's so much important to the Superman legacy. I just think it's, now, like I'm saying, I'm just playing the devil's advocate. You know, I'm trying to see what the other side is thinking, you know. But, you know, I know what you're saying, you know, about riding the coattails.
I'm just
saying. But at what point, you know, okay, so let's say. There's only so many iconic superheroes, you know what I mean? Wonder Woman is the iconic female superhero. You know what I mean? Superman. So there's only so many icons, and at some point the tree is going to go back to them, you know. So how far removed from them would you want a character to be before they could be considered their own lineage?
I think that you're your own lineage when you're your own original character, not riding the coattails or taking lineages from anybody.
But I know that, but how far removed would, I mean, so okay, so you're a male with superpowers. Well, that could go into the Superman lineage. You know, you're an alien male with superpowers. Well, that could still go under this. You know what I mean? How far removed you have to be before you don't
have to be removed at all. I'm just saying, whatever your character is, whether he has superpowers or whatever, just be original with where this character came from. Be original with their origins is what I'm saying. Totally original. They don't have, I mean, every superhero has powers. They all have to have powers.
All right.
Great, fine, and dandy. Have all the powers you want. I'm saying, though, create an original character where the origins are, if the sexuality is important, then make it a part of this character's origins, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Otherwise, you know, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't read comic books. It just kind of bothers me when it's like trying to say we're going to make a new Superman and Superman's going to be black. No, Superman has always been white. His origins are that he is white. So let's not make a black Superman. Let's go take a black man and make it into a totally original character. Hence, Black Panther, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's an original character. It's not riding the coattails of anybody else. It's original in its origins. That's all I'm saying. That's all. That's all I have for random bullshit.
All right, then.
And it's my opinion. Let's wrap it up. So next week, we have another fantastic guest. I'm sure you'll be riveted. I just don't know who it is right now, but there will be somebody riveting next week. Trust me.
Because we only have riveting guests.
Only riveting guests. But until then,
keep your minds open, people.